On a stormy November night in 1971, a man stepped out of the back of a passenger plane, thousands of feet above the wilderness, with $200,000 strapped to his body, and vanished forever. The name he gave was Dan Cooper, and to this day, no one knows who he was or what happened to him. This is the only unsolved skyjacking in American history. It began the day before Thanksgiving, 1971. A quiet man in a dark suit and tie walked up to the counter at Portland International Airport. He bought a one-way ticket to Seattle under the name Dan Cooper. He looked like an ordinary businessman, calm, polite, forgettable. He was, in every way, invisible. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a note to a flight attendant. She assumed it was a lonely passenger's phone number and slipped it into her purse, unread. Cooper leaned in and quietly said, "You'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." He opened his briefcase just enough to reveal a tangle of wires and red cylinders. Then he calmly stated his demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. The crew radioed ahead. The authorities had no choice but to agree. When the plane landed in Seattle, the ransom was delivered. True to his word, Cooper released all 36 passengers, along with 2 of the flight attendants. He kept only the pilots and a small crew. Then he gave his final instructions: fly toward Mexico, low and slow. Somewhere over the dark forests of Washington state, Cooper did the unthinkable. He lowered the aircraft's rear stairs, and with the ransom strapped to his body, he stepped out into the freezing night, into a raging storm, over miles of untamed wilderness. The crew felt a faint bump. When they landed, the cabin was empty. He was gone. What followed was one of the largest manhunts in FBI history. Hundreds of agents combed the forests for a body, a parachute, a single trace. They found nothing. No campsite, no equipment, no remains. It was as if the man had simply dissolved into the night. Over the years, the FBI investigated more than 1,000 suspects. Composite sketches of the calm man in the suit were seen across the country. Some confessed on their deathbeds. Others were named by families convinced their relative was Cooper. But not one could ever be proven. Every lead ended in silence. Then, in 1980, a breakthrough. A young boy digging on the bank of the Columbia River uncovered a rotting bundle of cash. Nearly $6,000, the serial numbers matching Cooper's ransom exactly. It was the only physical trace ever found. But it only deepened the mystery. How did the money get there? And where was the rest? The biggest question of all: did Cooper survive the jump? He leaped into a storm at night in ordinary shoes and a business suit with no survival gear. Many believe no one could have lived through it. Yet, no body was ever recovered. If he died, the wilderness swallowed him whole. If he lived, he pulled off the perfect crime. Over the decades, the theories only multiplied. Was he a trained paratrooper who knew exactly what he was doing? A desperate man with nothing left to lose? Or an amateur who got impossibly lucky? Every answer only raised another question. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI officially closed the case. The man who called himself Dan Cooper had beaten them all. He remains the only person to ever hijack a commercial airplane in the United States and get away with it, vanishing into legend. So who was DB Cooper? A criminal mastermind? A ghost? Or a man whose bones still lie somewhere beneath the forest floor? We may never know, and perhaps that is why, more than 50 years later, we still can't stop asking. If this story gripped you, subscribe. Every week, we open another case the world could never solve. What do you think happened to DB Cooper? Tell me in the comments.